The Silent Watchers, the patrol ship. Harmony drifted through the outer rim, its hull gleaming silver against the star-dotted void. Commander Zara pressed her four-fingered hand against the observation window, watching the empty space that had once belonged to humanity. Her purple skin reflected the soft light from distant suns as she contemplated the mystery that had puzzled the galaxy for 20,000 years. "Commander?" called Lieutenant Kex from the bridge, his insectoid voice clicking with urgency. "We're detecting an energy surge from Grid 77 Alpha." Zara's crystalline eyes narrowed. Grid 77 Alpha was supposed to be empty space, just another coordinate in the vast graveyard of human civilization. She moved swiftly to the bridge, her tall frame graceful despite the ship's artificial gravity. The Harmony carried a crew of 12, representing 6 different species that had joined together to form the Galactic Coalition after humanity's disappearance. "Show me," Zara commanded, settling into her captain's chair. The main screen flickered to life, displaying a 3-dimensional map of local space. A red dot pulsed steadily in what should have been empty void. Sensor readings scrolled across subsidiary screens showing energy patterns that made no sense. "It's massive," whispered Dr. Venth, the ship's science officer. His tentacles writhed nervously as he studied the data. "The energy signature is unlike anything in our databases, but there are traces of old human technology." "Impossible," muttered Engineer Grok, a stocky being whose rocky skin made him look like a walking boulder. "Humans vanished completely. We've surveyed this sector dozens of times." Zara studied the readings carefully. In her 40 years of service, she had explored hundreds of dead human worlds. Museums now displayed the artifacts they had found, and scholars debated endlessly about what had caused humanity's sudden disappearance. Some believed they had destroyed themselves in a great war. Others thought they had transcended to a higher plane of existence. Zara had always suspected the truth was simpler and sadder. They had simply failed to survive some cosmic catastrophe. "Set course for the energy source," she decided. "Maximum caution protocols." The Harmony adjusted its heading, engines humming as they approached the mysterious signal. As they drew closer, something began to materialize on their screens. It started as a faint outline, then gradually became solid and real. "By the Great Mother," breathed Navigator Yila, her feathered crest rising in alarm. "It's a space station." The structure was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the Harmony. Its design was unmistakably human, all smooth curves and elegant, lines that other species had tried and failed to replicate. But this station was like nothing in the historical records. It pulsed with blue-white energy, and sections of its hull seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. "How is it cloaked?" Zara demanded. "Our sensors should have detected something this large." "The technology is beyond our understanding," Dr. Venth replied, his voice filled with awe. "It's as if the station exists partially outside normal spacetime. Before anyone could respond, their communication system activated on its own. A voice filled the bridge. Human, female, speaking in the ancient Earth language that Coalition scholars had spent centuries trying to understand. "Unknown vessel, this is Guardian Station Echo 7. You have entered protected space. State your identity and purpose." Zara's heart skipped a beat. A human voice, after 20,000 years of silence. She activated the translation system and replied in standard Coalition. "This is Commander Zara of the Galactic Coalition ship Harmony. We are on routine patrol. Are you human?" Silence stretched for long moments. Then the voice returned, now speaking in perfect Coalition. Standard. "Coalition? That's a new one. Stand by for transport authorization. 1 representative may board. Come alone and unarmed." A shimmering portal opened in the center of the Harmony's bridge, filled with the same blue-white energy that surrounded the station. Zara's crew exchanged worried glances. "Commander, this could be a trap," warned Lieutenant Kex, his compound eyes reflecting concern. Zara nodded but stood anyway. If humans have truly returned, this could be the most important first contact in galactic history. "Monitor my vital signs. If something goes wrong, retreat immediately and report to Coalition Command." She stepped through the portal and found herself in a vast chamber filled with holographic displays and humming machinery. The air tasted different, cleaner somehow, with a faint scent of growing things. Standing before a massive control console was a figure Zara had only seen in museum recreations. The woman was tall by human standards, with dark skin and short-cropped black hair streaked with silver. She wore a uniform of deep blue material that seemed to shimmer with embedded circuitry. Her brown eyes held depths of sadness and determination that made Zara's breath catch. "I am Captain Elena Rodriguez," the human said, turning from her console. "Guardian of Echo 7 and the last active member of the Terra Defense Network." "Terra Defense Network?" Zara repeated. "Our records contain no reference to such an organization." Elena smiled sadly. "Your records wouldn't. We built it after, well, we realized the truth about what was coming." She gestured to the holographic displays surrounding them. "Tell me, Commander, what do your people know about the Devourers?" The name sent chills through Zara's body. Devourers are mythical beings from pre-coalition folklore, supposed to be extra-galactic entities that consume entire star systems. "Not mythical," Elena said grimly. "Very real. And they're coming back." She waved her hand and the displays shifted to show images that made Zara's blood run cold. Massive organic ships, each the size of a small moon, moving through space like hungry predators. Behind them trailed the withered husks of dead solar systems, planets stripped of all matter and energy. 20,000 years ago we detected their approach, Elena continued. They moved slowly between galaxies, but their vanguard scouts had already begun probing our outer systems. Humanity realized we had perhaps 2,000 years before they arrived in force. "So you disappeared," Zara said, understanding beginning to dawn. "We retreated," Elena corrected. "Every human in the galaxy received the call. We abandoned our worlds, our colonies, everything we had built. It had to look like complete disappearance so the Devourers wouldn't know we were preparing." She activated another display, showing a strategic map of the galaxy's edge. Thousands of red dots marked positions in the void between star systems. "We spent 2 decades building the Echo fleet," Elena explained. "Ships unlike anything that had ever existed. Then we spent the remaining time perfecting our weapons and tactics." "But where is everyone?" Zara asked. "Where are the humans?" Elena's expression grew distant. "Gone, but not dead. We discovered something remarkable during our preparations. Consciousness isn't bound to biological form. Every human who volunteered for the Echo Protocol had their mind scanned and preserved in quantum matrix storage. The implications hit Zara like a physical blow. "You digitized your entire species?" "Not digitized," Elena said. "Translated. We exist now as pure thought and memory, capable of controlling our ships with perfect coordination and reaction times impossible for biological minds." She touched a control, and her form flickered slightly, revealing the holographic nature of her presence. "I am the last biological human," Elena continued. "Someone had to remain flesh and blood to serve as liaison, to make the final choice when the time came. That time is now." The displays around them suddenly flashed red. Alarms began, sounding throughout the station. Elena's hands flew over her controls as data streamed across the screens. "Long-range sensors are detecting massive gravitational distortions at the galaxy's edge," she reported. "Energy signatures match Devourer scout fleets. They're finally here." Zara watched in fascination and growing horror as the displays showed dozens of enormous contacts moving into the galaxy's outer systems. Each one was larger than anything the Coalition had ever built. "How many?" she asked quietly. "Initial count suggests 47 scout vessels," Elena replied. "The main fleet will be perhaps 1,000 times larger." "What can the Coalition do to help?" Elena turned to study her with those deep, sad eyes. "Survive. And remember us." She began inputting commands into her console with practiced efficiency. Throughout the station, systems that had waited in silence for millennia began powering up. On the displays, Zara could see other Guardian stations across the galaxy coming online, their positions forming a perfect defensive network. "I'm sending activation codes to all Echo stations," Elena explained. In 68 hours, every human consciousness in our fleet will be awakened. 17 million ships will phase into real space, each one crewed by the digitized minds of humanity's greatest military strategists, scientists, and heroes. 17 million? Zara gasped. That's impossible. Where did you hide such a fleet? Phase, space, Elena said simply. We learned to fold our ships partially out of reality, existing in the quantum foam between dimensions. They've been waiting there for 20,000 years, ready to emerge when needed. She paused in her work and looked directly at Zara. Commander, I need you to carry a message to your coalition. Tell them what's coming. Tell them to evacuate their core worlds and prepare for war unlike anything they've ever imagined. What about diplomatic contact? Surely these devourers can be reasoned with? Elena's laugh held no humor. The devourers don't communicate, Commander. They don't negotiate or conquer. They simply consume. Every form of matter and energy in a system gets broken down into base components and absorbed into their ships. Planets, stars, space stations, living beings. Everything becomes fuel for their journey to the next galaxy. The magnitude of the threat began to sink in. Zara thought of the billions of beings across coalition space, going about their daily lives with no idea what was approaching from the void. How long do we have? She asked. Based on their current approach vector and speed, the scout fleet will reach inhabited systems in approximately 96 hours. The coalition's outer colonies will be the first targets. Elena finished her input, sequence, and stepped back from the console. Around them, the station hummed with increased activity as ancient systems fully awakened. I've transmitted the activation protocols, she announced. In 68 hours, humanity will return to defend the galaxy we once called home. But understand, Commander, we're not the same species that left. We've become something new, something shaped by 20,000 years of single-minded purpose. Will it be enough? Zara asked quietly. Elena was silent for a long moment, studying the tactical displays that showed the approaching threat. We designed the Echo Fleet specifically to fight devourers. Every ship, every weapon, every strategy has been optimized for this one battle. If we can't stop them, no one can. She turned back to Zara with an expression of grim determination. Your people should know, whatever happens in the coming battle, humanity chose this path willingly. We gave up biological existence and accepted digital immortality so we could serve as eternal guardians. Win or lose, we'll never stop fighting to protect this galaxy. The portal to the Harmony reappeared, its blue-white glow casting strange shadows in the vast chamber. Go, Elena said. Warn your people, and remember, when you see our ships emerge from phase space, we're not invaders. We're the galaxy's immune system, finally activated after 20 millennia of dormancy. As Zara stepped toward the portal, Elena called out one final time. Commander, tell the coalition that Elena Rodriguez sends her regards and that Terra has not forgotten her children among the stars. The return of the Guardians, the Coalition Emergency Assembly had never seen such chaos. Representatives from 200 worlds filled the Great Chamber on Nexus Prime, their voices rising in panic as they absorbed the reports from Commander Zara's encounter. 3 days had passed since the discovery of Guardian Station Echo 7, and the galaxy was preparing for war. Chancellor Vex, a tall being with translucent blue skin, pounded his ceremonial staff for order. The evacuation of Rim colonies proceeds, ahead of schedule, he announced. But our defense fleets report that the approaching vessels are larger than anything in our databases. Fleet Admiral Kor stepped forward, his 6 arms gesturing at the holographic display showing the edge of coalition space. Long-range sensors confirm 47 massive contacts moving toward inhabited systems. Each vessel appears to be approximately 800 kilometers in length. Gasps echoed through the chamber. The coalition's largest dreadnoughts were barely 2 kilometers long. What of the human response? Asked Representative Thera from the Centauri Collective. Have their promised reinforcements materialized? Before anyone could answer, every display in the chamber flickered and went dark. A new voice filled the space, calm, measured, distinctly human, but somehow different from Elena Rodriguez's tones. Citizens of the Galactic Coalition, this is Admiral Marcus Chen of the Terra Defense Fleet. We are beginning emergence protocols now. Through the massive windows of the assembly chamber, impossible sights began to appear in space around Nexus Prime. Points of blue-white light materialized in perfect formation, growing larger and brighter until they resolved into ships of breathtaking design. The human vessels defied every principle of engineering the Coalition understood. They seemed to be constructed of flowing metal that shifted and adapted in real time. Some were sleek and predatory, others massive and fortress-like. All of them pulsed with the same blue-white energy that had surrounded Guardian Station Echo 7. "By the Ancient Ones," whispered Dr. Venth, who had accompanied Zara to the assembly. "There are thousands of them. 17 million, to be precise," Admiral Chen's voice continued. "Each ship is crewed by human consciousnesses who volunteered for digital translation 20,000 years ago. We have waited in phase space for this moment." The largest of the human ships moved closer to Nexus Prime, its hull easily 50 kilometers long and shaped like a massive arrowhead. Weapon ports that could swallow Coalition frigates whole lined its surface, while shield generators the size of city blocks hummed with contained energy. "This is the flagship Eternal Vigilance," Chen announced. "I am requesting permission to address the Coalition Assembly directly." Chancellor Vex exchanged glances with his advisors before nodding to the communications officer. "Permission granted, Admiral." A holographic figure materialized at the center of the chamber. A human male in his apparent 50s, wearing an ornate uniform that seemed to be woven from starlight itself. His presence radiated authority and barely contained power. "Honorable representatives," Admiral Chen began, his voice carrying easily through the vast space. "I bring greetings from humanity's Echo Fleet. We have monitored your species' development over the past 20 millennia and are impressed by the civilization you have built." "Admiral," interrupted Chancellor Vex, "our scouts report that the Devourer fleet has accelerated. They will reach the Kepler system in 18 hours. Chen's expression hardened. "We are aware. The Devourers always accelerate when they detect organized resistance. Our fleet is moving to intercept." "What are your capabilities?" asked Fleet Admiral Kor. "How do you intend to fight vessels of such size?" "With weapons designed specifically for this enemy," Chen replied. "The Devourers' strength comes from their ability to convert matter into energy and absorb it into their biomechanical systems. We have developed quantum disruptors that reverse this process, causing catastrophic cascade failures in their hulls." He gestured, and the display showed technical schematics that made Coalition scientists gasp in amazement. The weapon systems were beyond anything they had imagined possible. "Additionally," Chen continued, "our digital nature gives us significant advantages. We can coordinate fleet movements with perfect precision, process tactical data at superhuman speeds, and make calculations that would take biological minds hours to complete." "What do you need from the Coalition?" asked Representative Thyra. "Stay clear of the combat zone," Chen said simply. "Our weapons will restructure local space-time in ways that could be dangerous to conventional matter. We will handle the Devourers." Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the assembly chamber. Emergency broadcasts flooded the communications channels as Coalition observers reported massive energy discharges at the galaxy's rim. "The Devourers have begun their assault," Chen observed calmly. "The outer colonies of the Kepler system are under attack." On the main display, horrifying images appeared. The Devourer scout ships moved through space like living things, their organic hulls opening to reveal weapons that fired streams of pure dissolution. Entire planets withered and died in minutes, their mass converted to energy and absorbed by the attackers. 15 billion beings lived in that system, whispered Chancellor Vex. "Lived," Chen corrected grimly. "The Devourers don't take prisoners or leave survivors. But their aggression ends now." He raised his hand, and throughout the space around Nexus Prime, the human fleet began to shimmer and fade. One by one, 17 million ships phased out of normal space. heading toward the battle zone at speeds that defied physics. "We go to war," Chen announced. "Remember us, Coalition citizens. Remember that humanity chose to become guardians of this galaxy, and we do not abandon our duty." The hologram vanished, leaving the assembly in stunned silence. Hours passed as reports filtered in from the battle zone. Coalition long-range sensors could detect massive energy discharges and gravitational anomalies, but the combatants were too far away to observe directly. The waiting was agony. Then, suddenly, Captain Elena Rodriguez's voice filled the chamber. She was aboard one of the human command ships, coordinating the defense from her unique position as the last biological human. "Coalition Command, this is Guardian Prime. The enemy has been engaged." "What's your status?" Chancellor Vex asked immediately. "The Devourers are more advanced than our 20,000-year-old intelligence suggested," Elena replied, her voice tight with concentration. "Their scout ships are adapting to our quantum disruptors faster than anticipated. We've destroyed 12 of their vessels, but at a cost of over 3,000 of our own ships." The numbers were staggering. 3,000 ships lost in the first hour of battle, each one crewed by hundreds of digitized human consciousnesses. "However," Elena continued, "we have successfully isolated their command vessel. Admiral Chen is leading a concentrated assault on their flagship now." The displays in the assembly chamber flickered to life, showing impossible scenes of battle in deep space. Human ships moved in perfect formation, their weapons creating tears in reality itself. The Devourer vessels writhed and twisted like wounded animals, their biomechanical hulls regenerating damage almost as quickly as it was inflicted. At the center of the conflict, the massive Devourer command ship, nearly 2,000 kilometers long, engaged Admiral Chen's flagship in single combat. The two vessels exchanged weapons fire that turned local space into a maelstrom of colliding energies. "Admiral Chen reports that he's discovered a weakness," Elena announced. "The Devourer's absorption capability can be turned against them. He's preparing something called the Echo Protocol." "What is the Echo Protocol?" asked Dr. Venth. Elena's voice became solemn. "Every human consciousness in our fleet shares a quantum link. We can combine our digital essence into a single, overwhelming burst of organized information. It should overload the Devourer's absorption systems and cause them to consume themselves." The implication was clear. The Echo Protocol would require the sacrifice of every human consciousness in the fleet. "There must be another way," protested Chancellor Vex. "There is no other way," Elena replied firmly. "The main Devourer fleet is only days behind these scouts. If we don't stop them here, they'll consume the entire galaxy. Humanity made this choice 20,000 years ago. We became digital guardians so we could make the ultimate sacrifice when necessary." On the display, Admiral Chen's flagship began to glow with brilliant white light. Throughout the battle zone, every human ship started to pulse in perfect synchronization. "All ships prepare for Echo Protocol activation," Chen's voice carried across space. "It has been an honor to serve as guardians of the galaxy. Remember us not as the species that vanished, but as the one that chose to become eternal protectors." The light from the human fleet grew brighter and brighter, until it became a second sun in space. The Devourer command ship, caught in the expanding wave of organized consciousness, began to convulse and writhe. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of being destroyed, the Devourer vessel began to change. Its biomechanical hull started forming new patterns, more organized and purposeful than before. "Incredible," Elena breathed. "The Echo Protocol isn't destroying them, it's converting them." The transformation spread from ship to ship through the Devourer fleet. Their chaotic, consumptive nature was being overwritten by human consciousness, turning them from destroyers into protectors. "The human digital matrix is compatible with Devourer biotechnology," Dr. Venth observed in amazement. "They're not dying, they're merging." Within hours, the entire Devourer scout fleet had been transformed. The massive bioships now pulsed, with the same blue-white energy as human vessels, their organic hulls bearing the quantum signatures of converted consciousness. Elena's voice returned, filled with wonder. "Coalition Command, This is Guardian Prime reporting mission success. The Devourer threat has been neutralized through integration rather than destruction. What does this mean for the main fleet? Asked Chancellor Vex. The converted scouts are already transmitting the integration protocol to their home fleet, Elena explained. Within days, every Devourer vessel in existence will carry human consciousness alongside their original biomechanical nature. They'll become guardians instead of destroyers. Admiral Chen's voice joined the communication, though it now carried harmonics that suggested his consciousness had merged with Devourer biotechnology. We have become something new, he announced. Human thought guiding Devourer power, creating the ultimate galactic defense force. The galaxy will be protected by guardians who can travel between stars as easily as breathing. And you, Captain Rodriguez? Asked Chancellor Vex. What becomes of the last biological human? Elena's laugh was filled with joy and wonder. I have a choice to make. I can remain biological and serve as liaison between the new Guardian Collective and the Coalition, or I can join my people in their digital transcendence. What will you choose? Asked Dr. Venth quietly. I think, Elena said slowly, that 20,000 years is long enough for any one person to carry such responsibility alone. It's time for me to join my people in whatever form they've become. The displays showed Elena's ship moving toward the converted Devourer flagship. As she approached, the massive biomechanical vessel opened like a flower, revealing chambers filled with the same blue-white energy that had sustained human consciousness for millennia. Tell the galaxy, Elena said as her ship entered the Devourer vessel, that humanity didn't disappear. We evolved. We became what the universe needed us to become. Eternal guardians who will protect all life from the darkness between the stars. Her final words echoed through the assembly chamber as her biological signature merged with the vast collective consciousness that now inhabited the converted Devourer fleet. We are the echo of Terra. We are the memory of Earth, and we will watch over the galaxy until the last star burns cold. The massive Guardian ships began to phase out of normal space, returning to their vigil in the quantum foam between dimensions. But now they were something greater than they had been. Human wisdom combined with cosmic power, ensuring that no threat could ever catch the galaxy unprepared again. In the Coalition Assembly, Chancellor Vex stood and began the formal ceremonies of remembrance. Humanity had not returned as conquerors or refugees. They had transcended into something beyond physical existence, becoming the eternal guardians they had always been destined to be. The galaxy was safe, protected by the echoes of a species that had chosen duty over survival, sacrifice over self-preservation. And in the vast spaces between the stars, 17 million human consciousnesses continued their watch, merged now with powers beyond imagination, but still guided by the simple, human virtues of courage, compassion, and the unshakable determination to protect those who could not protect themselves.